Hi, friends. Thank you for joining us on Fitness Friday on Food for Thought. This is the day in the week where we talk about fitness. We talk about how we engage with our bodies in a way, and then allow this body to then help us to be to house this spirit of ours that helps us to live in this world with joy and hope. And so today, usually on this Fridays, we usually talk to wise people who engage in the hard work of keeping our bodies healthy and strong. And so today we have, of course, a guest who has been on Food for Thought before, Patrick Wyllie, and he is an amazing person, and yes, he is a wise person. I'm getting chats from Ben saying he's not so wise, but Ben is a wise guy in this situation. But Pat is a wise person. So Ben, please bring Patrick on. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I know, like Ben gives me these little chats on the side, and it's like I'm getting distracted by it. And so anyway.
Oh, you usually talk to wise people, but you're making an exception today.
No, not at all. Both you and Ben are wise people, and I really appreciate it. And you're young and you're wise, which is really beautiful. I wish I was as wise as you both are at your age, and I really appreciate it. But you're here because you do so many different things. I just saw you on we did this marathon this telethon for Ronald McDonald House, this fundraising event that you did just recently, and I hear that you raised over $7,000, and all through the whole experience, you were on a treadmill running, and I was just amazed by that. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I think we might have touched on this a little bit the first time I was on Food for Thought, and we were talking about how I'm on the Boston Marathon team for the Ronald McDonald House Charities of New England. And as part of my effort to raise money for this organization, Ben and myself wanted to put on a virtual telethon. And we had musicians, comedians, all sorts of performers. And that was great, but I thought, how can I make this a little bit more interesting? So I decided, hey, I'm gonna run a marathon on my treadmill during the live stream telethon, and that's what I did. For half the telethon, it was an 8-hour telethon. I was running for 4 hours straight, in place on a hamster wheel.
Yeah. I didn't expect that at all. When I saw you do that, I was amazed. And then you said, well, you want me to do it too? And I said, yeah, I don't think how was that experience for you? How was was it really arduous? I mean, I know that you've ran running marathons versus running on a treadmill for 4 hours. What was
Yes, the treadmill's a whole different mind game. A lot of people don't really enjoy running on a treadmill. I don't mind it. I don't necessarily enjoy it for 4 hours straight. I would much rather be outside in warm weather with fresh air. You see the clip of me there running last Saturday there. But it wasn't, it was more of a mind game than anything else. It wasn't too bad on my body. I'm trained up enough to run marathons. That my fitness level is there. It's more the mind game for me. And there were parts during that marathon where we weren't bringing in many donations at the time, and it was messing with my head and my motivation. That was the hardest part. And I was just mentioning to you off camera, being on the treadmill with the running belt moving at a particular speed for 4 hours. You don't realize it, but it really messes with your equilibrium. When you get off of that treadmill, I felt like I was still on the treadmill, almost like I was walking on one of those, what do they call them? Not the escalators, but the ones that move, like to walk on, those walking tracks. That's sort of what it felt like when I got off. But other than that, it wasn't that bad because there's less impact on your body on a treadmill than on the road.
I love this. I mean, I think it was very, very tough, and I really commend your endurance to do any kind of running for 4 hours, and then to do it on an unfamiliar situation like a treadmill. I think that takes a lot of discipline. But I was just what you just said was really interesting to me, in that it sparks me to think about. Um, the idea about like it's a mind game.
Mm.
Even exercise, sometimes it's a mind game. I mean, Ben, our producer of our show, and your friend and my friend, was mentioning today that he had Jason Stevenson on an earlier podcast, and Jason suggested that this week is somehow the hardest. This is the week. This is like a cross in the cross in or a line in the sand
Mhm.
type of experience this week, because most people stop their fitness journey in the second week of February after they make their resolutions on the first week of
Mhm.
in January. This is the week, and part of me is just thinking it's kind of like what you're saying. It's kind of like this mind game,
Mm.
this idea that you have this journey that you're on, and at the very beginning you're really pumped for it, and everything seems to be, we're going to make it work. And then
Mhm.
when you hit the hard part, and I guess for most people in the world, it's the second week of February, where the
Right.
resolutions are become really difficult to maintain.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things there. First and foremost, I don't like New Year's resolutions for one particular reason. And resolutions, especially when you're making resolutions that are fitness related, the intention is great. You're intending to better your health, to better your fitness, to better your life in some way, shape, or form. But it's all predicated on motivation,
Yeah.
right? So what I've found in my fitness journey is that motivation is garbage. Motivation might get you to the start line, but it does not get you to the finish line.
Yeah.
It's discipline that gets you to the finish line. It's discipline that keeps you on your fitness plan. Motivation will get you started, but it does not keep you going. And quite frankly, I'm not surprised that that's the statistic, that this is the week where most New Year's resolutions that are fitness related die out, because they have not built the habit yet. It takes, 90 days to build a habit or something like that, and they're not even 45 days into it at that point. They're not even halfway there. So I think that's why a lot of these fitness resolutions fail, is because it's based on motivation and they don't have the discipline built yet. And really, in my opinion, and this is all my opinion. I don't have a degree in kinesiology or fitness or my, psychology, but without discipline and without building that basis, you're going to fail. You need to have a bigger reason why you're doing what it is that you're doing. Like, why are you becoming fit? Why are you running 50 miles a week? What is the driving force behind that? And I think that is not talked enough about, to the point where the general public says, hey, this is the real reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah, no, I think that's beautiful. I think a bigger why is important. Why do you run so much? Why do you run marathons?
Because I'm crazy.
The
That
why
that
is I'm crazy.
Yeah, no, that's part of it. Well, I guess, this is a time to be candid and honest. You know, in 2018, I decided to change a lot of the habits in my life. I own a DJ business. I've for years have been in and out of bars and restaurants, and was just getting to a point where I was drinking too much and eating very bad food on a regular basis. And I didn't feel like my old self. So I made this decision when I was 30, to get fit. And I just wasn't the person that I wanted to be, that I was in my younger years. I was athletic my entire life, up until, probably up until I had kids, to be honest with you. And then life got in the way and things went downhill. But for me, it was a conscious decision of, I don't want to continue to gain weight. I don't want to continue to put poison in my body, whether that be through alcohol or through, um, garbage food. And that was the biggest reason for me. But the driving force behind that is my family. So, I wanted to be present, alive, and energetic for my family. So, when I'm 45, 50 years old, I can still go out and do things with my kids. It's much more than just wanting to be healthy. It's wanting to be healthy so I can have longevity to see my family grow in the future.
And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think that's a significant reason why. I mean, you do the practices that you do. And I think also the other key might be, I think Jason once told me also, Jason, and it told my wife and I when we were in a training session. He said that the journey is just as important as the destination, right? So,
Mm.
I mean, you've got to enjoy the activity that you're in engaging in, and so you must run like running. I mean, even though 26 miles, after mile 10, I would think it's really hard, but there's a part of you that still loves the movement of your body, the muscles, the way it moves, the way it feels, and
Yeah.
really that meditative zone-like experience once you get to that point where,
Yeah, yeah, it's there. That's part of it. It's funny that like 'cause I actually don't like running, believe it or not. But that is part of it. I do enjoy it now, but when I first started, so I was a wrestler in high school and in the first year of college. So I always had a negative view on running because anytime I ran, it was to make weight for a wrestling match. I was 155 pounds trying to lose 15 pounds to wrestle in the lowest weight class possible. So when I was done with that portion of my life, I said, "Nah, I'm done. I don't need to run. I don't like it." And at that time in 2018, when I changed my lifestyle completely, it was also not just about becoming healthier, but it was about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I wanted to push myself to the limits in all areas of my life, and that was being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And running is very uncomfortable for many, many people. Running a marathon, I don't care how many times you've done it, it's very uncomfortable. But it's chasing that feeling of gratification at the end, and they call I guess the elusive runner's high, but it is a feeling in and of itself. So I do enjoy the process. Don't get me wrong. The journey, I love training. I love pushing my body. I feel like it makes me uh, perform better in all areas of my life. It carries out into my businesses and into just, my daily life in general. So yeah, the journey is great and you got to love it, but it's also about doing things that make you uncomfortable and being okay with that, because life's not easy and it throws some uncomfortable situations at you. So if you can be comfortable with running an uncomfortable distance, you can handle pretty much any situation that's thrown your way.
well, that's beautiful because I think that relates to that original point that you had about it, discipline. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you're doing this because there's a dedication to the discipline, to the act of doing it.
Hmm.
And that in itself is good because then it feeds into all other areas of your life. It helps you to be focused and disciplined in all areas of your life. I think that makes sense. um but I do also think, for me, I was thinking this week, I heard this statistic from Ben just with you, just before the beginning of this program, and I look back at this week. Today, yeah, this week was a little bit tougher for me and my wife to get
Mm.
to the gym. I mean, we worked out in the morning. We usually have a session with with Jason on Monday morning, but this Monday morning we didn't get a chance to go there because we had a late night on Sunday, but we rescheduled it to be this coming Friday.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing one of the reasons why we like doing those training sessions, and then the days in between to practice, to work out and to watch our diets, is because first we know that we're held accountable by Jason and each other. We're on this journey with each other.
Mm-hmm.
My wife is, she's so competitive. Oh my God. She's like, Jason has us pushing like a sled. And, the first time, with my knee replacement, I couldn't run that much.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like kicking my butt. And but I beat her last time, and she was still competitive. So we like being competitive with each other. So that whole thing about doing it with someone else and starting to enjoy the process. But I'll tell you, it was a hard week. It was a hard week. But I also see the insight here in that the actual discipline of, the working out every day,
Mm-hmm.
even writing out our journey, a diet journal, trying to figure out where is it that we've, where we could improve is also a wonderful process in itself.
No, absolutely. I think, I personally, I journal in some ways. So I have training logs that I can look back on and I can see what times I've ran or cycled or swam. I think it's important to do that because you need to see results, right? So that helps with that motivation, right? If you see that you've improved on this exercise, that's going to motivate you to do a little bit more. And again, the motivation is fleeting, but if you have something to look towards and attain, it makes it a little bit easier. So I mean, the journaling is great, but I think why people, again, falter at this time is because, you can't see physical results really in 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
maybe some people can, but to really see a true change in your body and in your performance, you need that consistency. And I see that in myself. I want to run a sub 3 hour marathon. That's not easy to do. And I've been running for a few years, but it takes years of consistency to be able to run the amount in training that you need to run that particular speed. So again, it's just, what's that motivation? What's that discipline? What is that bigger why? And if you can see results and you have little ways to track it, it's going to be a lot easier. So I think these folks that give it, a shot in the beginning and then end up quitting, they're just not seeing the results. But they need to be reminded of what's the bigger picture here.
Yeah, no, I agree definitely with the bigger why too, because I think, and thank you for being so honest about what your why was. And I'll tell you what my why is, that at this age, right now, I'm 2 years older than when my father died. My father died at age 53, and he died of a heart attack. I mean, he was he was a larger than life kind of guy, but he had a bad heart, and he had a bad diet. He didn't exercise. He overworked himself a great deal, and because of that, you know, and I loved my dad greatly. Because of that, he wasn't there for my wedding, my brothers and sisters' wedding, and many of the life milestones that I would have loved for him to be a part. I wish he had known my kids, and they would have known their grandfather. And so the bigger why for me is that I want to be able to know who my grandkids are. I want to be there for my wife and my mother and my kids, and experience some of those life milestones. And so that's the bigger why. It's not easy even though I might have that motivation, it's still hard, because the other insight that you brought about, it's kind of like being on that treadmill, the treadmill of work, the treadmill of not of giving to others, and not taking a little bit of time to keep yourself healthy and focus, and your spirit
Mm.
healthy. Like I get into this treadmill type of experience where you're running and rushing through work and trying to do for everyone else, that even when you in your personal time, you end up being disoriented in some way. You're still on that treadmill, and so
It's the treadmill of life, I guess, right?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
and I think
we're running in place and seem to be going nowhere sometimes, right?
yeah, yeah, that's a that and sometimes, you know taking a pause and reflecting on what you're doing is just as important, I think, and then being able to refocus.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's tough to you can't really be hard on yourself. It's you have to be hard on yourself to a certain point, right? You have to be able to give yourself a kick in the butt when you need it. Um, but I find even in my own training, I'm training 10 to 15 hours a week at this point, preparing for the marathon and for my Ironman later in the year. And if I miss a workout, I'm finding myself, I gotta stop and I gotta say, don't let this bother you. Like, you can't make every single workout. Just make the workouts that you can do count and just move on. The world is not going to end if you miss your Monday workout. Pick it up again on Tuesday and move forward from there. It's just about taking one little step. If you have to take a step back and breathe, that's fine. But the next day, you better take 2 steps forward. So that's how I kind of look at it.
No, yeah, no, I love that, and that's a beautiful insight too. I was watching, and we're going all over, but I mean, I was watching the Olympics, this ice
Mhm.
skating, and
Oh, yeah.
I see these wonderful people who are doing these very complex ice skating routines,
Mm.
and sometimes they fall. Sometimes I mean, the guy who I think got the I don't remember his name, but there were two really, I think, gold medalists who ended up getting the gold. They both fell, but the
Mm.
one thing about them that I thought was just really amazingly courageous and powerful was that when they had that fall, they got back up, and then
Mhm.
they didn't, let that mistake. They were able to kind of put that mistake behind them to kind of
Mm.
continue the routine, and the routine was flawless, in both situations that I saw. And so this idea about, yeah, we'll make mistakes, but you just get up, brush yourself off, and just continue.
That's it, and I'm glad you brought up the Olympic insight because I've been watching it. I love the Olympics. Um, and we have Michaela Schifrin, I think her name is.
Yeah,
She's a multi-time medalist, gold medalist, in the downhill skiing and slalom. She's one of the best in the world, and she had 2 races this week where within the first 20 seconds she was disqualified because she made a mistake, and just like that, she's out of the race. So this is someone who is one of the best in the world who is making this mistake and essentially, you know, ruining her chances of an Olympic medal in that particular event. But she has 4 or 5 more events that she's doing. So, she's got to be able to put that out of her mind and pick up and move on to the next events. And it's not just these professional athletes that are at such a high level. Yeah, they might have more experience with being able to brush things off because they're performing at such a high level. But the ability to brush that off and to move on and to say, I'm not going to worry about that bad workout that I had. I mean, I have bad workouts all the time. Most of my workouts are terrible, but I have good ones, and you just got to relish the moment when you have those good ones where your body's feeling uh, well oiled and working, on all cylinders. Because like we said before, it's a journey. It's not, you don't just show up and expect everything to click immediately, right? It's a journey.
yeah. Well, Pat, this is I enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for spending some time with me and talking about it. And out of this, I think even for our own fitness journeys, I think the one thing, a couple of things have are come out to me. One is that discipline is important. Yeah,
Mm.
especially as we continue, as we look forward to getting in shape, our bodies in shape. Motivation, the why is important for the discipline. Why do we do the things we do? Why is it important to get in shape? Why is it important to have a body that will be healthy for us to house our soul and spirit? And then also from there, this idea about enjoying the journey, enjoying even the exercise, trying to find our joy in the activity. Simply showing up
Mm.
is wonderful. You know, and then finally, I think knowing that we will make mistakes every now and then, but to kind of brush off those mistakes and then just start again. Just continue to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, and, I think, where it's along the lines of, if we're talking to your congregation here, your body is a temple.
yeah,
It's not meant to be destroyed and put through the ringer. When you understand that your body is a temple, things change. You start to think about what you're putting down your throat and into your stomach, and you start to think about your lifestyle and your activities, and it truly is. So when you look at it from that perspective too, that could be a whole why in and of itself. Is, I want to take care of my body. This is the one body that I have in this very short period of time. Let me take care of it as best I can for me and for my family.
yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Patrick. Again,
Thank you.
it's such a pleasure knowing you. God bless you, and
Likewise. God bless.
I look forward to hearing about the marathon.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, for
All right,
sure. Thanks
all
for
right,
having me on, Sunil.
all right, great. Bye. Uh, Patrick Wyllie, wonderful man, and great insight today. So whatever I think the key for me also is just keep working at it, keep trying, keep showing up for your exercise routine, keep trying to do better on your diet, um, and enjoy this process. And as you do, you'll become healthier, and that's no doubt. I mean, if you keep doing the right things, eventually those right things will help us transform ourselves to be our bodies to be what we hope it to be. And in the meanwhile, um, just know that these bodies are a gift, as Pat just alluded to. They're a gift from God. They're the temple that houses our soul. So take care of it. Let's end with a prayer. The Lord be with you. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the many blessings you've given us. We thank you for our bodies. We thank you for our minds. We thank you for our soul. We thank you for life and all of the beauty that we have in this world and in this universe. And we also thank you for the challenges, for through the challenges we learn. We learn about ourselves. We learn about the environment. We learn how to adapt to the situations that life brings us to. Lord, we pray that you will continue to bless us in our fitness journeys. We pray, Lord, that you will help us to know that in these journeys that you would hope for us joy and happiness. We pray that you would bless us in our efforts. All this we ask in the name of Jesus. Amen. Friends, go in peace to love and serve God and spread the light of Christ to the world around you, the light of hope and joy. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Did you know that you can join Christ Church from anywhere in the world? If you're feeling connected to what we're doing, email us today at communicate@christchurchwesterly.org.